Hey, Money Magicians. How are you today? I think this week I've been doing the live classes later and later. Okay, I've been doing Tantra yoga most of the week. So every time I do Tantra yoga, I need to just like sleep, or I end up sleeping in Shavasana for like an hour. 90 minutes later, I'm like, oh gosh, what just happened? So, yeah. Anyway, welcome to today's class. If you've just joined us, my name is Wangile Makwakwa, and I'm the host here at the Wealthy Money Magicians Group, and I'm also the founder of Wealthy Money. And according to the Wealthy Money students, what I really do is I teach and coach women to liberate themselves from their ancestral money stories so they can live their best lives. Actually, they came up with that. I didn't. And I'm still like, why? I had so many other ideas of what I truly do. But anyway, if you've just joined, you can just say hi. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and do today's topic, which is the question that I think most of us ask ourselves, and we're sometimes scared to just verbalize out loud, or we're told we're not allowed to verbalize it out loud, and we must do tons and tons of positive thinking around it, right? So we must tell ourselves that we're going to succeed no matter what, only see success. So yeah, today I want to talk about what if I fail, right? I think that it's human nature. It's normal that we all think that, like, we set a new financial goal, we set a new goal for our businesses, for our careers, for life, basically. And then we have this fear that it won't work out. So what if I fail? So let me start by talking about why this is a very valid question and why you really don't want to beat yourself over the head telling your mind that you will succeed, and not really deal with this fear and the root of this question. So first things first, the thing that you need to understand is that the mind makes decisions based on the past. Like, your mind only knows the past. I mean, on a deeper level, your subconscious mind, your soul, your spirit knows so much more, knows eternity, knows the future, knows everything, right? So that's the, I guess, the basic truth. But the truth is also that your subconscious mind only knows the past. So often what happens is that our minds are operating from the past, right? So we're operating from the sense of what happened to us in the past. So if in the past I faced some kind of failure, so imagine that I said, so this is really true. Don't even imagine it. Let me tell you my story. Okay. So the very first company I ever started was called Speak to Be Free, and it was a company for spoken word poets. And my sister was just talking to me about it yesterday. She was like, do you remember the tagline for Speak to Be Free? It's we begin to live our lives when we start to tell our stories. And it's all about the importance of telling our stories, and how by telling our stories, we live our lives. That the only way for us to be visible and to be seen and to really live our lives is to own our own stories. So I started the company with that aim. So that was years and years ago, before we started talking about the importance of stories and not being erased, right? All those things. So the company didn't do too well, right? It was my first company. It was a concept that I was still trying to figure out. Everything was just new. So the company failed. And in the failing of the company, that was also when I had $60,000 in debt. I used to use credit cards to run the company. I wasn't really earning much. I couldn't, for the love of me, for the whole 2 to 3 years that I ran that company, I don't think it ever made a revenue, like as in a sale. as in I sell to one person and I get something. No, it was really interesting. So everything I did was I just put everything into the company, because that's what I've been told, that's what entrepreneurship is. And it's normal for companies not to make a revenue for a few years, or to make a profit and just break even, or not even break even. So I took that as gospel. Now, so when the company failed, it was really like me. So here I am, failed companies, $60,000 in debt, haven't earned money, depressed, panic attacks, the whole 9 yards. So basically you're understanding that there's a mess going on, right? I'm a mess. Everything around me is a mess, and I'm feeling really lost. So now fast forward a few years later, I've done the inner work. I've been doing a lot of the work around money, and I've published the book, and things have started to shift for me. I've done different things. Then I decided to start Wealthy Money, right? Actually, more like my sister's pushing that I need to do blogs. I need to do more things around the book. People are asking her questions. I don't really want to answer them, because my deepest fear is, what if I repeat the same thing that I did with the first company? I go through what I did with Wealthy Money, and it doesn't work out. And then I spend years and years basically, again, using credit cards, borrowing from family and friends, avoiding their calls because I owe them money, because the money has been put into my company, etc. Right? So there was definitely that fear. And lo and behold, 3-4 months into Wealthy Money, I'm not borrowing money, because now I've done so much work around debt and I've been clearing that, right? But I haven't done work around revenue and the fear of failure at a company, or just making money in a company. So that basic fear, and there's that what if I fail at the back of my mind. And remember, the mind is making decisions based on the past. So the only past that my mind knows of me in entrepreneurship is the past of me having run Speak to Be Free and not being able to make money, not being able to generate a revenue, not being able to make a sale. And that totally impacted the first few months of Wealthy Money. So I had to there was no amount of I will succeed that I did in the mirror, because I did try, trust me, because I was like panicking. I was like, oh, now I've written the book and I'm teaching these things on my blog, and I'm just about to repeat the same old fashion, and it's going to make it seem as if the book is null and void and everything that I've done in the book is pointless. And I didn't understand what the heck was going on. But then having the understanding that you can always go back and redo the work and go deeper in it. So I just decided to go deeper. And the first thing that came up was around this fear of, what if I fail? And just seeing how every time I was stepping into doing things around Wealthy Money, I would freeze, I would procrastinate, I wouldn't be able to make decisions. In fact, I was blank. I had no strategy on how to move forward, because the fear of failure was so palpable for me, right? It was so visceral, because I'd gone through this for 3 years, and it had been a very difficult 3 years with Speak to Be Free. I mean, if you can imagine starting off with $30,000 in debt, and then starting off with about $30,000 to $40,000 in student loan debt, and then racking up an extra $20,000 in just debt, not earning money, sleeping on friends' couches, having friends help you out with rent, having family members have to help you out, and basically owing everyone. So it hadn't been the greatest experience of running a company for me, right? So there was part of that money trauma that I spoke about yesterday. So having to go back to this notion of, what if I fail? So like I said, I would stand in the mirror, try to affirm, and I realized that every time I affirmed that, my mind had 3 years of data to prove that this is not true, that I will not succeed. So every time I was standing in front of the mirror and telling myself, I will succeed, it's easy to run a business, this is going to be amazing, you're a great entrepreneur, etc., etc. What my mind was doing, what my subconscious mind was doing was saying, that's what you think, right? Here's 3 years of data to back that up for you and to prove that that's false. And my subconscious mind would absolutely shut down. So I was literally, every time I was trying to affirm it away, my mind was fighting back equally as hard. And the one thing I always say to everyone is, once you go to war with your subconscious mind, the likelihood of you ever winning is a very, very slim. So the deeper, and the mind is engineered not just to react from past data, because remember, again, the information, part of the information that our ancestors passed on to us and the information that we're holding on to within our minds, it's not just so that we can beat ourselves up. It's because the mind truly believes that it is protecting us. Part of why most of us are here today and breathing is because our ancestors had passed on the information on survival for us, that when we see a lion, we run, or that when you're sick, these are the herbs that you use, right, to heal yourself. So those things have kept us alive. So in the same way, all the things that we're holding on to from the past, the reason why the deeper the trauma and the more, and I guess the deeper this fear of failing and the proof that you have failed before and you haven't succeeded, is that the more the mind will hold on to that data to remind you, remember. So my mind was actually saying to me, hey, every time I'm like, you will succeed, my mind would bring up the 3 years of data. And every time I come to work on Wealthy Money, it would bring up the 3 years of data to remind me, remember the last time you did this, you almost didn't make it out alive. You were depressed and suicidal and things did not go your way. Let's not do this again, because it could lead to the same circumstances. So my mind was actually trying to protect me from repeating a situation that would lead to my depression and eventually maybe even lead to me finally carrying out the suicidal thoughts, right? So what I had to then do was stop fighting the mind and stop telling it what it believed was false, so that it could stop fighting me, but really start working with those memories and start going into my mind and accepting those memories and honoring them, right? So it was almost a similar process that I take the Wealthy Money students through with the inner child healing. And of course, understanding that also this fear, I've been depressed since I was 13, right? So it wasn't like my depression was a new thing, but it was really, so I had to then go back and heal the inner child, the inner teen, and go even further back to heal the inner child. Because I was telling the Money Magic students that I could see, even by the age of 4, I had the tendency to think in a particular manner. And this is hard to understand, but for people with kids, you can see when your kids they have a particular way of thinking and seeing the world, right? So I had a particular way of thinking and seeing the world, and a lot of it was just being triggered by other external events. And so having to heal the root of that and then heal it so that I could eventually start showing up and doing the work and building Wealthy Money. So that was about 3-4 years ago, right? But it took me having to go into those stories and understanding where the sense of what if I fail comes from. And then the other thing that I had to do was I had to change the people. I had to choose the people that surround me in terms of the dreams that I share. It's not that I changed friends. I didn't ditch my friends. In fact, a lot of the friends that I had then are still the friends that I have to this very day. But what I did was I realized that you need a support system. So my friends were on their own journey, right? So, and that's fine. There's no reason for your friends to stop their journey and go on the same journey as you. because that's not their job. Their job is to do their journey. And I'm so fully in favor of that and believing that. So what I started to do was I started to go out and look for a tribe of women and entrepreneurs that felt the same way, right? So that's how I actually ended up meeting Nomveliso, right? You guys know her as teen coach. So there was Nomveliso, there was Leonie, there was Joe, and we started this whole mastermind where we would meet once a week and share stuff. And we had a Facebook group. And from there I started, and that opened up my mind to realizing that, you know what, this shouldn't just be us, but I can do the same for the Creating Money Magic students. So that fell away, but everyone else, like Joe and Nomveliso, are now part of the Creating Money Magic student group. And that's a larger tribe where literally even I use it as a space to share my challenges. So I'm not just a teacher, I'm also always on the journey as a student, and I share the things I learn. So I still teach, but I also share the challenges. And what that does is that there's a space where I'm always remembering, oh, there's a space of like-minded people. And this is important because every day when I feel like, oh, this is too much, someone in the Creating Money Magic student group will literally post about a victory they had and share the process of how they got to it. And that reminds me and also gives evidence to my subconscious mind on a daily basis that, you know, what you think is impossible is not impossible. Victories are happening every day and they are possible. Because the other thing is that your mind is constantly looking for external evidence to validate the things it believes, to validate why you will fail, why you will not succeed, why certain things won't happen. So you need real life people, not just like, yes, great to have celebrities and mentors that are out there, but people that are on the journey are equally, I feel sometimes more powerful because you get to see the background, the day-to-day experiences. And then to just have someone every day post about a victory that they're having, or just like a wow moment or an insight, that right there is really powerful. And I saw that, like I said, when I had the thing where, when it was Joe, Nomveliso, Leonie, and I, and just to see what would happen. I think all of our businesses shifted so radically that year and changed. And it's really important to have people, and we would all be doing the inner work. So I would be teaching intention stuff. Joe would be teaching some of her coaching stuff, and we'd be asking each other questions, which is what I do now in the Money Magic group. So yeah, so that's how you deal with the question of what if I fail. You go into healing the past stuff, the past stories around you having failed, so that it's not the most obsessive thing that your mind obsesses on and looks at and feeds on. And then you also surround yourself with incredible people, with a tribe of people that are doing something similar. And of course, I've got like 2 other masterminds apart from the Money Magic students. I don't run those masterminds. So one of them is a paid one, and one of them is a bunch of digital nomads, a bunch of women who are traveling and building their businesses, and we share the challenges of that and share insights of how to build businesses better, and we share our successes and failures. And this is so important to have that tribe. Okay, so guys, I hope this helps. I am doing a free masterclass on Monday, so April 23rd, Monday evening. Check it out. The link is here at the bottom, wealthy-money.com/masterclass. Join me. Let's have a conversation. The masterclass is about 7 emotions that stop us from saving and investing. So let's have a conversation. I hope to see you in that masterclass. And during the masterclass, I'll also be opening up the Creating Money Magic course for registration. So don't miss it. If you're not on the masterclass and you're not on the waiting list for the Money Magic course, you're going to totally miss out on you're going to totally miss out when I open up the Money Magic course for registration. Okay, so have a fantastic day, and the retreat in 4 days. The Thai retreat is happening. Okay, so super duper excited. Have a fantastic day. Namaste.